All right, let's bring in Colonel Cedric Leighton, U.S. Air Force retired and president of Cedric Leighton Associates, a good friend of the program, to talk about this. Good to see you, Colonel.
Good to see you too, Jonathan.
The significance of Aleppo, it's not overstating it to say that this could well be a defining moment in the battle for Syria, whichever way it goes.
Absolutely. It's Aleppo, as Dominic mentioned, is a very, very large city, the largest city in Syria. And when it comes down to it from a strategic standpoint, it is at the crossroads not only of Syria, but it's the crossroads of the Middle East that's in question here. If the rebels are able to capture Aleppo, they will control the lines to Turkey. They will control all of the northern Syrian frontier area, and they will also control areas that lead into Kurdistan, both the Kurdish portions of Syria and the Kurdish portions of Turkey. Vitally important for them. If they lose it, it is not the death knell of the rebels, but it is vitally important for them, and it would be in their interest to capture the city, to hang on, and to take it a little bit further and to capture more military hardware, as Dominic mentioned.
Now, one imagines, Colonel, that U.S. officials totally sort of giving up on the United Nations here and the diplomatic path are doing everything they can to make sure those rebels are as strong as they can, short of actually physically giving them weapons. This is important for the U.S. to try to, I guess, create in Aleppo or in that region the so-called safe haven that Secretary of State Clinton talked about.
Well, that would be one possible outcome, and with communications gear, with logistical support, and quite frankly with black market arms transfers, it would be possible for the rebels to hold on to that area, and that could then become the enclave that Secretary Clinton has been talking about, and it could be the enclave that the rebels then use as the basis for asking for a no-fly zone, for example, and the basis for really establishing their own governmental structure. They've already started a shadow government, and it's become much more public than it was in the past few months. So that then indicates that they are certainly prepared to take territory. The question is, can they hold that territory?
Yeah, and I guess that's the major point here. I mean, it's all very well to say the rebels are holding, but they are under intense fire, and there's not any real sign that President Assad is about to take his foot off their throat in Aleppo or anywhere else, and he still is by far the stronger in terms of the actual weapons he has at his disposal, of course.
That is true. And, what was interesting about the developments in the last week or so is the use of fixed-wing aircraft against the rebels. Up to that point, you really hadn't seen that too much. You had seen one or two instances of it, but now you see far more instances of using fixed-wing aircrafts, some of them trainers, some of them actual MiG fighter jets, and, of course, the helicopter gunships. For a crowded situation like urban combat is, the helicopter gunships are probably more effective in a tactical sense, but it depends on how the targeting works, and I think the targeting is really not as accurate as it would need to be for those weapons to be that effective on behalf of President Assad. So it really shows that there's a war of attrition going on, and it's also a war of hearts and minds, because this is one of those situations, Jonathan, where you could go into a territory that you can occupy even with supporters of Assad like Aleppo has, and you could occupy it for a longer term if you convince the people that your way will be the better way, and your way will be the one that will lead to peace, will lead to more economic stability, and will lead to the stop of the refugee crisis that is going on right now. And if that happens, the rebels will gain an upper psychological hand, and that would be a key element in their ability to move forward.
Anything you think that the U.S. should be doing currently, Colonel, that it is not doing?
Well, I think we should certainly ramp up our support in the sense of providing communications gear, logistical gear, and even food supplies to the rebels. I would definitely go that far. As far as other more overt military support to the rebel cause, to the Free Syrian Army, I would say that we should let them handle that fight at the present time, because that seems to be working best for them and for us. And of course, by the same token, we have to be very careful who the Free Syrian Army actually is. Elements of them would be more favorably disposed to us than other elements, and of course you have the ever-present threat of Al-Qaeda infiltrating the ranks of the Free Syrian Army, and you want to avoid aiding them.
All right, Colonel Cedric Leighton, U.S. Air Force retired, president of Cedric Leighton Associates. Always great to get your input. Colonel, thanks very much for being here.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. It's great to see you again.
All right. Have a good day, Colonel.